Well, just first of all, congratulate you for being here, because, you know, a lot of the times, well, I think we had probably close to 700 people register for this masterclass, and I'm very excited and delighted. For those of you that don't know me and said, who is this man speaking now? Well, I'm Bernardo Muya. I'm the CEO of NLP Life Training. I've been Richard Bandler's promoter for 11 years in London, and Paul McKenna. And apart from that, well, I'm the founder of The Best You. So I'm sure you're familiar also with The Best You, with The Best You Expos, The Best You magazine, The Best You TV. And I obviously am a big, massive fan of NLP. NLP changed my life. I read Paul McKenna's book, Change Your Life in 7 Days, and that got me hooked. And then I did my NLP practitioner, my master practitioner, and circumstances of life. I lost my money all over again for the second time. I wanted to change my life, and I became a promoter. I had an opportunity to promote Richard and Paul, and I've been doing that, as I said, for 10, 11 years. So to say that NLP has changed my life is an understatement. And thanks obviously to Richard, and thanks obviously to Paul. You know, NLP Life Training is still the largest NLP training organization out there. And although we haven't been able to do any live events for the last year because of COVID, you know, we're looking forward to running some in 2022. Who knows in 2021, but hopefully 2022, 2023. But what we are going to be doing this year, we're going to be doing a lot more online training. We do have obviously NLP Live Talks, which is available on the Best You Online. But I wanted to bring you, you know, what I believe are the best trainers in NLP to teach you skills. And well, today you're in for a treat, because we got Fiona Campbell here, who is going to be teaching some phenomenal skills, and she's going to introduce herself better than I am. But I just wanted to help you understand that Fiona has not only been part of the assisting team and supported Richard over the years, she's probably one of the top, if not the top, trainer in business. She's worked in the Middle East for a long time. She's worked with top companies, and she's going to name just a few afterwards. But she's been teaching NLP in business for a long time, and she has a great approach. I love obviously her accent, being Scottish. It keeps you engaged and excited. So she's going to be offering you a masterclass here today around the Meta Model. She's got some incentives for some of you that do decide to stay to the end. Those lazy ones that come in and then decide to leave halfway through, well, there's nothing for you. But for those of you who stay to the end, she's got something that she's going to be giving you. And then, yes, she will be offering you the opportunity to do some additional training if that's something that you wanted to do. So I just wanted to take the opportunity. I'm actually just traveling through Spain right now. I am in Zaragoza on my way to the UK. And I just wanted to take the opportunity to introduce Fiona and thank her. So Fiona, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me? Hello, how are you doing?
Yes,
thank you.
Fiona. I want to thank you so much. I know we've got your courses listed on the Best You Online for quite some time now, and I know we've been working and following each other, you know, for quite some time. So I'm delighted, and I'm delighted with the response that we've had for people wanting to train with you. Now, I wanted to point out, apart from Fiona, who's going to run the show today, I also have Alexandra Sultan. She's part of the NLP and Best You team. She's going to be here to help you. Any questions you have on the chat, she's going to then pass them over to Fiona. I've got a couple of people from my team as well, Michael Salter and Amelia. I'm going to ask them to identify themselves later. If you've got any questions about any additional NLP training, or you got any questions about the Best You, or getting involved in anything else that we do, I'm going to make sure that they engage with you. But I wanted to thank you all so much for being here. So for now, and just to give us a bit of an idea of where you're coming from, and the floor is yours, Fiona, start typing in, where are you from? Where are you connecting from today? Because I love how international it is. And as I said, I'm going to leave the floor to Fiona. I want to thank you so much, and lots of love to all you. Take care. All the best.
Okay, thank you very much, Bernardo, and thank you for yourself and your team, because it takes a lot of work and effort to get everyone to get all this out, and also thank you for coming on tonight, because that's absolutely fabulous. We've got Mother of Kintyre. Oh, hello, Gail. I recognise that name there. How are you doing? Can you also put, it helps me to know who's in the room, can you put your NLP experience? So it's either none, beginner, practitioner, business practitioner, master practitioner, trainer, master trainer, whatever. And that just gives us a chance to really see what experience, and I can see already we've got lots of beginners and master practitioners and practitioners. Fantastic. Lovely group from all over the world. So if someone had said to me 30 years ago, you'll be sitting in front of an international group of wonderful people talking about how to use the NLP Meta Model in business, I would have said, you're mad. Okay, because I first learned, I was a highly successful sales manager with Xerox, and I lived out in the Middle East for a long time. And in 1990, I trained as a clinical hypnotherapist. And what was really interesting was I knew all about open questions. I knew how to build rapport. I knew how to gather information. So I thought, because I'd always been successful and I didn't know it, you know, in my sales career. I got introduced to the Meta Model as part of the clinical hypnotherapy training. And it just confused me because I'm not a linguist, or I was not a linguist. I looked at these big long words, complex equivalent, normalization, just went, I've got no idea. I really couldn't understand. And I put it to the side. And then I kept going back and reading Richard Bandler and John Grinder's The Structure of Magic 1. This is where the Meta Model comes from. I didn't understand it at all. I'll put my hand up. I hadn't a clue because it's too technical for me. But something made me keep asking, because while I was training as a clinical hypnotherapist, I did that on the side of sales. So I still was a sales manager for another 10 years. I kept asking my team when they were talking about things they were going to do, so how are you going to do that? In other words, I started using the unspecified verb, and something magical happened. People started telling me how they were going to do it, and they took personal responsibility. And I went, for goodness sake, I'm solving the problem that always seems to be around about employee engagement by asking one Meta Model question. So I decided to go and find out more and really start to use it. So what I'm covering tonight is I'm covering my version of how I've been applying the Meta Model. There's many, many different ways you can apply the Meta Model, but I found that with the things I was doing with it, it was working. Now, can I just, before I go into, so I'll be sharing my slides. I'll give you a little bit of what we're doing here. I'll be sharing slides, then I'll be coming back. So you're going to get a little bit of, it's a masterclass, so there's going to be learning. If you've got a pen and a piece of paper, that would be brilliant to take notes. We have a handout that Alex will, Alex, if you can put the handout in the chat, and you should be able to download the handout. We've got a PDF handout for you. And I will spend about an hour going through the masterclass. Now, there's a couple of it, there's two exercises that you're part of. You're all going to be taking part of. And we're going to do breakout rooms. So we're going to go to breakout rooms. We can't do it manually. So I can't tell you who you're going to be with, but you'll get into a breakout room so you can put into practice what we cover tonight. Because the way I teach is, it's no use talking to people about stuff. You have to do it. I want you to be able to leave here tonight with at least one or two things that you can apply instantly to help you really understand a little bit more about, you know, the goals. For me, the NLP Meta Model is the most powerful communication tool you'll ever have in life, never mind business. But I will say one thing, please do not turn into meta monsters and start meta modeling everyone you know. So can you all see my screen? Yeah, just put your fingers up, yeah, you can see the screen, that's fine. So for those of you who stay until the end, I'm going to give you my Resilient Leader Toolkit, which has an audio book, it's an ebook, and it's a workbook. So it's a whole toolkit that you can use to really get, there's nine tips in there to help for leading and coaching and influencing. So there's a lot of things in that book, in that whole kit, that you can apply. So my name is Fiona Campbell. I'm an NLP business practitioner, Society of NLP business practitioner. I'm also an Society of NLP business coach trainer, coach trainer. a master practitioner, executive coach, clinical hypnotherapist, and corporate trainer. I've been delivering NLP trainings for business in the UK, Dubai, and India since 2005. And as Bernardo mentioned, I was very, very fortunate. I was on the this is a personal testimonial from Dr. Bandler, and I was a member of Dr. Bandler's assisting team in London for 8 years. So I was on 2 practitioners and 1 master practitioner every year for 8 years. And I worked also with Paul McKenna. Paul McKenna was on that, Michael Breen, Michael Neal, John Laval, Kathleen Laval. I've also trained with John Grinder. So I've been very fortunate that I've really got to the source of NLP. So these are just some of the companies I just wanted to share. This is not, I don't like to, it's not a boast, but it's a bit of a convincer strategy that NLP is really happening. It's been around since the 70s, but now it's really happening in business. If you can just, any of you who've got your microphone on, if you could just put it on mute while it's in the group at the moment. I've just got some more NLP work from the NHS, even in the situation the NHS is in just now. So it's just to show you these companies I've worked with practitioners. Some of them I've done in-house practitioners with. I actually did a whole program where we did NLP business practitioner for 60 senior managers in the NHS a few years ago. So NLP, there's lots and lots of different definitions. This is according to me. It's a methodology of how we create behavior, but it's also an attitude. It's an attitude. I just noticed there that Alex has put the PDF handout link. So if you want to get that, you can get the handout. So you've got some information on for later on this course. It's an attitude of curiosity to discover what is possible and what is not. Now, all behaviour, as you know, those of you, we've got a very mixed group. I've just saw with lots of different experiences, but all behaviour has a structure. And one of the ways that I'm actually presenting NLP now is it's human behaviour coding. I have trained to master practitioner level, business master practitioner level, lots of senior IT directors. And when you go into the world of IT and they go, what? Human behaviour's got a structure? You go, yep. It's what we model the structure of behaviour. We have strategies. We have all these different tools and techniques that help us model and understand the behaviour. So we can model excellence, as you know, and we can also reprogram just by changing a tiny thing. So I like to talk about NLP not as a thing, but as a toolkit that you have that you can apply to understand how someone is creating any behaviour, including your own. And in fact, I think the best place to do it is start with yourself. So each of us creates our own edited version of any given situation by how we sort and filter information. In NLP, this is known as the map of the world. So let me just come out of the sharing just now. What I'd like you to do, now, just a little hint, because some of you, I know, and now most of us are used to using Zoom, but just in case you're not used to using Zoom, if you want to see me in full screen, you just go to the 3 dots and you can put me onto full screen, or you can go up to top where it says view and just put speaker's view. It's because some people prefer that rather than look at everyone. So what I'd like you to do, I'd like you to close one eye and with the other eye, look through your hand telescope, okay? And I want you to start looking around. Look up, look down, look behind you. That's it, look behind you. 360 degrees, just get looking around. Now take your hand away and come back and face the screen. Now, when you were doing that, the room was still there, am I correct? But you could only see a tiny little part of the room. That is the first method. Now, those of you who are working in taking NLP into business, please feel free to use my techniques, any techniques that I use here. Share them, use them. I always show that as saying that's how we all have our own perspective. We all have our own perspective in the world. The world is still there, but we have our own perspective, and it's a tiny, tiny, tiny perspective of what's available to us. Have you all got a mobile phone? Put your mobile phones up. Let's get some. And Alex, if you can maybe do a screenshot of this. Oh, just to let you know, we are recording. If anyone doesn't want to have their face recorded, just put your camera off. So put your mobile phones up to the screen. Now, you've got different types. So there's probably quite a lot of iPhones there, and there's probably quite a lot of Galaxies or whatever the latest phones are. You all started with a blank screen in your phone, didn't you? Most of you. And then you, or there was maybe some basic stuff there. And then you started adding apps. That's what we're doing with our brain. Also, those of you who are in business, when you're in business and you find that you go onto someone else's computer, and it's a company computer and it all started the same, but they're using that computer in a completely different way. So that's the way I start to explain about how we all create our map of the world. Because it's always nice to have a visual. So we've got lots of different worlds. That's all maps, but every one of these, they're all a map, but every one is completely different. So we have our inside world, and according to me, the inside world is everything inside your skin. Doctors or neurologists might not say that, but I say it's everything inside your skin. That's your feelings, beliefs, hopes, dreams, expectation, fears, confidence, values, experience, disappointment, knowledge, and it's where all your emotions live, your imagination. And then we have the outside world. The outside world is everything outside your skin. So it's family, friends, colleagues, home, office, car, products, services, results, KPIs, targets, actions, goals, etc. And that's where your stuff is, okay? So remember the inside and outside world. So the NLP Meta Model was created by Dr. Richard Bandler and John Grinder. And as I pointed out before, it's this book, The Structure of Magic. This model gives you a structure for crafting questions to retrieve information that someone has distorted, deleted, and generalized to create their map of the world. So doing this helps someone get behind what someone's saying, and it opens up possibilities. It opens up creativity. It gets to the heart of what's possible by giving people choices and possibilities. So the language patterns of the NLP Meta Model, and we're not going to go into all the language patterns because we don't have time tonight, but I just wanted to remind you. So we've got distortions, mind read, cause effect, complex equivalent, normalization, loss performative, deletion, simple deletion, comparative deletion, lack of referential index, unspecified verb, and then generalizations, universal quantifier, modal operator, and presuppositions. The NLP Meta Model is the door into someone's inside world. So when you master using the NLP Meta Model, you are finding a way conversationally to really get insights of someone's world. Now, we're going to have a wee exercise here with the communication process, and I hope we've got some people, I hope that some of you are happy to take part, because this is a fun exercise. So I always like to use business examples because, as you know, I work always with business. Well, not always with business, I see private clients, but most of my work is with business. So someone goes to a 2-hour meeting. They come out of the 2-hour meeting and they've got to pass, say it's a team, it's a manager. So that manager's got to pass on the information to their team leader. And they pass on the information. They're having to give their edited version of that. So they're having to delete, distort, and generalize. Because what we're doing when we're creating our map of the world, we're actually editing. It's our edited version of what's happening around us. It's that little part that we can see. So that person can pass on to that information to someone else. Now that other person may be a bit angry, annoyed, or whatever. So even that change of state means that when they're hearing whatever, they're going to delete, distort, and generalize when they're taking the information in. And they will delete, distort, and generalize when they pass the information out. And then we go to someone else. So the next person is deleting, distorting, and generalizing when they take the information in. And then when they pass on information, they're deleting and distorting and generalizing. And then when they pass that, it turns into what I call the blah, blah, blah. because it's the way it happens. This is what happens. It's people, let me just come out of the slide there for a moment. Right. People will find that when they're deleting, distorting, and generalizing, that we're so far away from the truth in business. This is what causes all sorts of problems in business. So what I would like a volunteer on, let me see, out of who, put your hand up if you would like to take part. Put your hand up if you'd like to take part on this. Okay, so let's see, I've got some people. Lizzie, you put hand went up first, so we've got Lizzie Butler. Okay, so I'm going to start, Lizzie. Lizzie, I would like you to choose someone that you can see. Now, you might not all be able to see everyone because of the number that's on here, but you'll get to see part of it. So Lizzie, who are you going to choose from who you can see?
Philip.
Philip. Okay, so Philip, remember, you're going to be paying attention to Lizzie. Okay, Philip, who are you going to choose?
I'm going to choose, for example, Rebecca.
Rebecca. Okay, so we've got Lizzie, we've got Philip, and then Rebecca. Rebecca, who are you going to choose?
I'm assuming there's only one Rebecca on the call before I jump
right.
in.
So we've got a Rebecca Beck. Is there any other Rebecca? Was that the Rebecca you meant, Philip?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Isaac, please.
Isaac. Okay. And one more. Isaac, who are you going to choose? Who would you like to choose, Isaac?
Am I the only Isaac?
Sorry?
Yeah.
Isaac,
Okay.
yes.
I just wanted to know that
okay. I love it because everyone's using first names, so we're all really friendly with each other already.
Stefania.
Stefania. Is there one Stefania? Okay, so Lizzie, I want you to pay attention. How we're going to do this, I'm going to give Lizzie a message, and Lizzie is going to pass that message on to Philip. Now, Philip, you are going to do exactly and say exactly what Lizzie says, not what I say. Okay, we all know it's going to go to the blah, blah, blah. Now, if Lizzie goes, oh, I don't remember what she said, Philip's got to go, oh, I don't remember what she said. So I want you to use the same hand gestures, the same body posture, and the same voice tone. Okay, so Lizzie, British Airways removed one olive from their first class starter. They saved £5,400,000. Their service was not affected and their customers were happy. Okay, just what you think you saw and heard. Okay, off you go.
Okay. British Airways, something with an olive, saved 5,400,000 and service was not affected.
Okay, fantastic. Philip. Okay, Philip, on you go.
British Airways, something I didn't understand, saved 5,004,000 money, and the
Yep.
service was not affected.
Fantastic. Rebecca? Great.
British Airways, something I don't remember, saved 5,400,000 money and service was not affected.
Okay, Isaac?
British Airways saved something I don't remember. Saved £5,004,000 and something else I don't remember.
Okay, fantastic. And we'll finish up with Stephanie. Stephanie? Or have I distorted that? Stefania, sorry. You're muted, Stefania, if you just want to, yeah, that's, yeah.
Sure. Sorry for this. So British Airways saved something I don't remember, £5,004 million or whatever. Service was not affected.
Okay, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. A big round of applause. So what we're doing there is we're showing you how we delete, distort, and generalize. This is a great exercise. Now, those of you who teach NLP, or those of you who like to run NLP courses, please make sure you do the blah, blah, blah slide first so that people don't feel embarrassed. You always say, whatever happens, it's going to blah, blah, blah. So it's and this is just a way that you can actually show people how we're actually doing this constantly. So let me just bring this back up again. So the communication process, we went through that. So there's your message there. British Airways removed one olive from their first class starter. They saved £5,400,000. The service was not affected and their customers were happy. And we got sort of money and 400,000, 500,000. They all have disappeared totally, and the happy customers disappeared as well. Okay, so just to let you know, resilient leader toolkits, everyone who stays to the end will get that. So I've put together this model to show you how the meta model, how it works, what it actually does. So I want you to imagine here, this is the surface structure, and surface structure only equals your edited map of the world. That's all that's what it means. Then you've got the deep structure, and the deep structure only equals the experience that happened. Because I'm not technical, I didn't even realize I was clever until I was in my mid-40s. I like things really legit, really logical and really simple. And I pride myself in keeping things really simple. So that's where the meta model sits. And what the meta model does is the meta model retrieves information that has been deleted, distorted, and generalized to enrich your map of the world, or enrich the map of the world that anyone was saying. If you find that useful, can you let me know by putting something in the chat? If you can just put something in the chat about that, okay? So when you're retrieving, now the trick is to retrieve the right amount of information and the bits of information that will give you the most clarity. Because you can be meta modeling away over here and meta modeling away over here, rather than meta modeling and what the actual, getting to the root of the problem. That takes time and it takes practice. Now, I assume, and that's a dangerous word to use from an NLP trainer, but I'm going to assume there's quite a few people in here know what your submodalities are, your visual submodalities. Am I correct? Yeah. For those of you who don't know what a visual submodality is, I would like everybody to imagine, now you're all sitting in front of a computer or sitting in front of your mobile. I want you to imagine you're standing in front of your door. So point to where you see your door if you're imagining standing in front of your door. Okay, now what you're doing there, Lizzie, you're pointing to your door. I don't want you to point to your door. I want you to imagine if you were standing in front of your door, looking at your door, where would it be? Is it in front of you? No, so if you're waiting to put the key in, do you put in the key like that?
Oh, sorry. Yes.
No, that's okay. So you would have the door in front of you, yes?
Yes.
This is thank you for doing that, because this is something that's really it's interesting to help people. This is the way I introduce submodalities, because submodalities for a lot of people, this is weird. So I just say, long before we do swish pattern or anything, I bring in, so where's your door? And then I get people, so show me, I want you all to show me where your door is. I want to see everyone does. How do you turn your key? Okay, does the door open that way or does it open that way? Which way does it open? Now put your hand up if you're standing outside your door, and put your hand up if you're standing inside your door. I didn't give you enough information. I only said stand in front of your door. I didn't say stand at the outside of your door or stand at the inside. So that, again, that is giving examples to people of how we delete, distort, and generalize with giving them real examples. And we've also brought in the submodality. Now, what I realized in the years that I've been doing this, I'll put my hand up. It took me 10 years to understand the meta model. And I don't want anyone in this room tonight to take the same amount of time. I want to accelerate every single one of you, okay? So what I realized is, for us to make a submodality for something, I'll just tell you in a moment. The meta model is the easiest way. The easiest way to retrieve information that is missing is by asking very specific and targeted questions. The meta model is the information and gathering tool, but this next part was the bit that just let everything fall into place for me. The NLP meta model is based around all our open questions. So the easy way to understand the meta model is to understand what is a subject and who is the person or people. Can you make a submodality about anything and have a clear thing? If I'll suddenly say to you, yeah, they're getting on really well. Who's got a clear picture of what I'm talking about? Because there's no person and there's no thing. So you must ask, what are we talking about and who's involved before you can even start to get a submodality? And for those real people at the beginning, welcome to the world of NLP, but we are making what I call the visual submodality, I call visual holograms. We are creating these visual holograms for everything we think about, past, present, future. Everything we're thinking about, there's a visual hologram element to it. You cannot even begin to understand what someone's saying until you, because I remember I knew all about open questions. I was brilliant in open questions. Nobody told me how to use them. And I've yet to come across a sales course that tells you the order to use them in. And that's when I suddenly went, this is gold dust. And I was teaching today in Qatar, and I teach people that English isn't their first language, and they all get this now. And this is people that are not doing NLP business practitioner, we're just doing an NLP and business course or a frictionless communication course. So then you've got to find where are we talking about and what's the time? Because we all know the brain doesn't understand the difference between reality and imagination. So because the brain doesn't understand the difference between reality and imagination, somebody can come into you and go, ah, and can be totally in a state of panic. And when you say to them, so when did this happen? They go, 5 months ago. Because we're able to, it's called revivification, we're able to relive a memory and create the same chemicals in our body. So once you get the time, so where's all this happening? And what time are we talking about? And then we go on to the how. We go on to the how, and I'm going to show you how the meta model all fits into this. We then go into the how, so the action. So what has happened for this to happen? Now, once you get to this stage, both of you, if it's 2 people or if it's a team, because if you're leading a team and you're using meta model questions in a team, it's fantastic for getting clarity. Every single person in the room by this stage should start to have a similar submodality. They should start, we talk about it being on the same page, seeing the same picture. What picture are we talking about? We're talking about our submodalities. I don't like to have NLP out here as some strange thing people do. I want to tell people you're already doing all this stuff. I'm actually married to the best meta model in the world who's never been near an NLP training in his life. Okay, that's what got me really thinking this. He's using all this stuff. Okay, he's never been trained. And it came from Bandler and Grinder modeling excellence. So excellent communicators are naturally using this. And the last question we ask, and you always ask this at the end, is you ask the why, because the why gives you the reason or motivation. And if you ask the why at the beginning, you'll get pushback because you are asking someone to defend their values, to defend their justification and defend their reason. But once you've got all the other bits of information and the person's really starting to understand, and can you write something down for me? What I like to use, I like to talk about people being valued, listened to, appreciated and understood. If you work with these 4 things with people, you'll have people engaged in business. You'll have your coaching clients coming back to you. You'll be able to work, if you work in the world of medicine, your patients will respond better. There's so many different things. So it's understanding that when you ask the word why, you're asking it, because I've heard people say, oh, we don't use why in NLP. Rubbish. It's one of the most important questions to use, but you have to place it at the right place. So it's for the motivation and for the reason of something. So that's where it comes. So how are we doing? Let's get some comments. How are we doing so far before I go on to the next part? Let me just come out of the shares. So any questions? Have we got any questions? Because I know I'm doing a bit of talking here, but I want to give you plenty of time to go and practice. Any questions or any comments? Is it first of all, is this useful? It's clear, yeah. I like it. John said it. I like the sequence. That's how I work, John. I work with sequences. I work logically. I was lost when I did my first practitioner course, and the very first one in the UK in 1995, when Paul McKenna brought Bandler over. I was lost completely. I came away with one thing because no one showed me a sequence of how to use it. Okay. Ella, you're saying I'm a bit confused in the context I'm asking these questions at this point. You're asking these questions when you're working to clarify a situation. Does that help? So you're not asking these questions to, if your husband, wife, or partner or friend starts going sort of, and you start going, what specifically? So where? Who are you with? What time? No. But if you're in business, so remember, I'm working with coaching. So I'm working with business teams. I'm teaching advanced communication skills based around NLP for business. And definitely if you're coaching, this is, I don't know how people coach without this, to be very honest. So I've mapped this on. I decided, right, how does the meta model fit onto this? Because these are, so people can get very clear. You can get clear submodalities by asking these questions in that order. But then once we start looking, the what is the compared to what, which is the comparative deletion. What specifically? The lack of referential index. Now, if you can ask, you just put your, that's it, someone that you've just muted. A lot of information is missing. The simple deletion. Someone makes me feel, the cause effect. These are all the language patterns from the meta model that fit under, they'll give you what. And then we go over and we look at the why. Sorry, we look at the who. So compared to whom? The comparative deletion. Who specifically? See how the comparative deletion, lack of referential index can be who or what. A lot of information is missing. Simple deletion. According to whom? The lost performative. And someone makes me feel, the cause effect. And then if we go to where, it's just a simple deletion. And the when is just the simple deletion. It's just all the information about the environment, about, so where were we and when were we there? And then we go to the how. So the mode or way of doing something is the modal operator. How is this being done? The unspecified verb. My first one, that unspecified, the key to the whole of the meta model. Someone makes me feel, cause effect. So how are they doing that? The all or nothings, the universal quantifier, how they make it, how are you feeling? You're never going to get this done. So you can see, you can challenge this in all sorts of ways. And then the moving noun to the verb, the nominalization, because the nominalization is something that's said as a noun that should be a verb. And you want to know how they're going to do. So if someone says, I want to be more confident, I want more confidence. So what are you going to be doing confidently? I want to know the action someone's taking. So it fits in round the unspecified verb. And then the last one is we go to the why. And the why is the reason or motivation. So how do you know? That's the mind read. Two statements put together, and as long as the first one's true, we will assume the second one's true, the complex equivalence. So what's the reason that you think just because it's sunny today, that just because he's sent you a short email, that he's angry with you? What's the reason for that? And I like to use, rather than using the word why, I actually like to use what's the reason or what's the motivation. I'm still asking why, but it softens it. So the final thing I want to show you is where problems live and how to challenge them. And can I just say a big thank you to, big acknowledgement to Robert Dilts for his logical levels, and also Kathleen Laval. who she trains with Richard, but she's been training with Richard Bandler now for many years. Kathleen was the one who she demonstrates this. She shows how this works. So basically, problems can only live in 4 places. They can live in values or beliefs, and it's back to that good old inside world, or they can live in strategy or environment, and that's your outside world. And this is the key. Now, I've not given you this in your handout because this is the magic, but I've got no objection if you want to take a photograph. I'll put it that way. So the lack of referential index fits it. And if you wait till everything's put out, you can wait till I've put everything on here. Lack of referential index is the environment. Your simple deletion. So just by really learning the meta model, you'll know where the problem is. You'll know if you identify the problem, you'll know what questions to challenge with. If you know what questions to challenge with, that will point you to where the problem is. It works in 2 ways beautifully. The comparative deletion sits between strategy and environment. Cause effect is beliefs. The loss performative is values, because it's according to somebody that's no longer there. So it's a judgment statement or a value statement that was said outside of yourself. The model operator, strategy. Universal quantifier, strategy. Unspecified verb, strategy. Nominalization, beliefs. Mind read, beliefs. Complex equivalent beliefs. So just before we do the activity, can you see, by taking time to really understand what the meta model is giving you, and when you start to apply it, it becomes so much easier to use if you know what you're looking for. And when it's used elegantly and it's used conversationally, it's phenomenal. Now, I will say, I've got to pass on, I always have to pass on Dr. Richard Bandler's advice. I took it. A lot of people don't. He says, write each language pattern out 100 times. Go and find 100 examples of each language pattern and keep doing it. Keep writing it out. So you can have a complex equivalent day or a complex equivalent week, a mind reading day or a mind reading week, and see how many times you hear it. And it's not so that you become, there's something, and it's not typing it, write it with your hand, because the more you can write this out, the more automatic it becomes, and it just becomes second nature. And you can quickly get to the absolute, the heart of what someone's saying, so you can clarify goals. If you're coaching, it's the quickest way to really get a well-formed outcome with someone. For sales, you can get very quickly to a client's problem. What's the problem and what do they need to solve it? If someone wants to be motivated, you can get to find, because remember, our one of the presuppositions of NLP, everyone has got the resources of an individual's within them. So what you're doing with the meta model is you're enriching someone's map of the world. And as you enrich someone's map of the world, you see them doing this, and this is brilliant. You start to see this, the transderivational search goes on. Could be, and they start coming up with their own solutions. That's what businesses are paying loads of money for, and we've got it in the meta model. So when you're using this with people, conversation, people don't know, they just, what I get told, what I've been getting told for years since I've been using this is, you help me make everything really clear, Fiona. I haven't helped them made it. I haven't done it. I have used language to help them get clarity in their head. Okay, so what we're going to do, there is let me just share my screen. Take a photograph of the exercise we're doing. It's in the handout. In fact, I don't know if it is in the handout. So take a photograph of that. What we're going to do is we're going to put you into groups we're putting in groups of 5. And in the groups of 5, one person will just share something you're looking to achieve. So let's just use this as a bit of a goal cell. So you don't want something you've done, something that maybe you're struggling with or something you're looking to achieve. And then depending on the level that you're with in the group, you might all go straight into meta model questions. If you don't know about the meta model questions, that's absolutely cool. Just go with the what, who, where, when, how, and why in that order. and all take turns to ask questions, and you'll start to find you all get totally clear of what that person's looking to achieve. So they could maybe go further. They maybe say, so how are you going to do that? So they might tell you more. And then what's fun is as you're doing that, as each challenge that, if you're challenging them with something, so what are you going to do that? See where they are in the logical levels. Are they at values, beliefs, strategy, environment? Okay. So is that clear? I'll be popping into different rooms. I'll come in and out of some rooms. Just go play, because the whole thing about NLP is an attitude of curiosity, and be amazed at all the things you can do that you don't even know you can do yet. Okay, so we'll bring you back. If you've not done the flying through the air with Zoom, it's fun. That we'll press a button in a moment, and then you'll find yourself in another room. And then, so it's 10:02, and we'll bring you back at 5 past. So Alex, is that okay? Can we get the rooms ready to go? You'll be brought back automatically, and I believe we can give you a countdown. We'll give you a countdown. Is that fit, Alex? Yes? Or have you said? Right, okay.
I'm doing 25 breakout rooms as we speak.
Okay, so we've got 25 breakout rooms. So thank you for everyone that's staying. That's phenomenal, absolutely fantastic. Go play with this. Go play with this. Those of you get your hand out, you'll see I've actually got all the what do you call it? The models, the who, what, where. The meta model is all in there in the handouts. You've got these circles. Okay. Okay, so
rooms are being populated.
Fantastic. So do you want to put the recording off just now, and we can re-record when we come back?
Sure.
Closing the masterclass part, and then I want to tell you about the offer I've got. But if you can put it just in the chat box, and has anyone got, so let's go do some question and answers. Who's got anything they want to ask at this point of time? Let me just just put this on for a second. And then, so just 3 light bulb moments from this session. And we'll stop that in a moment. Okay. So who's got anything they wanted to share? How did you get on with that? Or if you get any questions you need to ask. I always like to look for evidence of who achieved what. Who wants to share what they achieved? Okay. Nahid, yes?
Yes, I'd like to express my sincere thanks to, just a minute, I was there with Rebecca and Colita. Just let me get her name right. Yes, Colita. And they helped me through my achievement. Which is that I wanted to finish my book by the end of this year.
Yeah.
It's been going since last year.
Okay.
I started it last year and it's been on hold. And so they use the structure, the sequence that you shared. And yeah, some things, very, very interesting things came out.
Phenomenal. And that's what, and thank you for that, because the whole thing about the meta model is it causes you'll see this going on with people, the eyes moving about, and for those of you who know, that's called the transdivisional search, which means someone's thinking.
Yep.
Bandra talks about most of the time we're remembering,
have a cup,
but when you're actually thinking, it's fantastic. Okay, thank you. So who else wants to share something? Maria, did you have something you wanted to share?
I can share.
Yeah.
So I was also helped because I also presented something that I wanted to achieve, but at the same time, it's a bit of a struggle as well. So the questions also helped me become, have more clarification on how to go about it. So it was actually very nice as well. And there was very sound, there was very sound advice as well. So it was an overall amazing 15 minutes. You're mute.
I know that there was the whole mute there, but it's how quickly it works. You know, that's the beauty. The meta model, it gets you right to the heart of what, you know, and people really get, you see them getting motivated, you see them start to come up with solutions. Fantastic. Now I saw Sukru, did you put your hand up? You wanted to share something?
Yep, I do. Hi, Hi Fiona. Thank you for this excellent night. Thank you so much. Hi from Istanbul, Turkey, guys. So I was struggling with one problem, which is being NLP trainer. I always like high sensitivity about life, you know, very detail oriented, you know, and our friends helped me to understand this is the reason of one of the beliefs that I have about marriage.
Yeah.
Marriage should be like a dance, like a salsa, you know. And they asked me questions like Meta Model questions, and then one of the participants said, "Just one dance?" And I said, "No, it could be like tango. It could be salsa sometimes. It could be different, like Turkish belly dancing maybe."
Yeah.
So that was really eye-opening, and thank you for everybody. Really.
Okay, phenomenal.
Fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Ruth, have you got something to say? Have you got something to ask or share?
Yeah, I was in breakout room 10, and mine was about improving health. And what I realised from the questions that they asked, one, I'm already taking them steps going towards it, but the strategy that I'm using is moving away from.
Okay.
In order to achieve my goal, which was quite funny. We had a bit of a laugh and a chuckle. And yeah, it was really good in the questions how they directed to me and how it got me thinking, and then the realization of where I am. So it kind of gives you that motivation that yes, even though you're using that strategy, it's working.
And what you said there about that, so when you bring in, and this is where more experienced people, more experience with NLP, so you'll bring in the meta programs. So you were talking about the different, so the meta programs, and that it was an away from rather than a towards. And the thing is that that's could be working for you, but you smiled about it. So fantastic.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Who else? Okay, any other questions? I've got some lovely comments. Someone asked, Michael, I worked with both Michael Breen, I was on the assisting team with both Michael Breen and Michael Neal and Paul McKenna. So it said the Michaels, that's the Michaels. Okay, so thank you very much everyone for being here. I just want to share with you the offer that we have for the next 48 hours. I have created a course, it's NLP Frictionless Communication Skills for Leaders and Coaches. It's the equivalent of a very condensed business practitioner. I mean, it's obviously not a business practitioner because we only do over 9 hours, it's 3 3-hour sessions. But it's the advanced NLP skills for communicating frictionally. You increase your self-awareness, self-control, and we actually touch into a lot of the language that's used in business, like employee engagement, emotional intelligence, and being the empathetic leader. These are all the different things that come up in business. Clarifying goals. Now you saw what you could all do in like 10 minutes there, 10, 15 minutes. Can you imagine what you can do over 3 3-hour sessions? About how much clearer you'll get with your goals, changing thought patterns, and then looking at developing different ways of flexibility. This 3-week program is run over 3 weeks, and what we do is it's 3 3-hour sessions, and we work from 10 to 1 UK time. Now, I work live. This is how I work. I don't do webinars, and I don't just have everyone just talk to people. We're live. So numbers are, we bring people on and we work with the rooms. We put people into breakout rooms. We have got experts that come. We've got NLP trainers, all society NLP trainers and master practitioners. They come and help you. You've got the workbook, and we also provide you with downloads, and there's discounts available. So we provide you with the discount on my self-learning course, How to Use the NLP Meta Model in Business, provide a free fast tracking your leading coaching and skills, and we've got also the NLP Business Club. So that's all available. The brilliant thing about it is I use the platform called Kajabi. So it's a mobile app. So you can, what we also provide you is you get the Zoom links, you get the Zoom recordings of the training, but we also have a pre-recorded frictionless communication skills that you get access to. So it means you can go back again and again and again, and you can see it from other perspectives. You can see other people going through the different exercises. So again, just to let you know, these are the companies that, lots of these companies have taken this training as in-house, and we cover the one-to-one module 1, it's Map of the World, DDGs, the VAC model, controlling your self-talk, then the communication, we do a lot of focused listening skills, identifying where problems live and creating well-formed outcomes and really tuning up your calibration skills. And module 3, anchoring resourceful states. Now, what's brilliant is I've now been running these courses online since the first lockdown. When this first happened, I went, how on earth are we going to do all these different techniques online? It's unbelievable. I've got 99.9% of all the techniques I use in the business practice now. I do it all online, and I show you how to use this online so you can use it remotely. Seeing things from the perspective of others, the perceptual perceptions, really bringing in the fact of vulnerability and empathy in leadership, because that is now huge. There's a big, big thing starting to happen because of what everyone's gone through in the last year. People are wanting caring leaders, they're wanting caring people, they're wanting caring coaches, people who really understand them. A brilliant technique that's moving mindsets from problems to solutions. So you do this conversationally, and also the RAFT model. And the RAFT model is a model that I've developed, and it's for identifying success strategies. So that can be used in all sorts of ways. So time sensitive, 48 hours only. If Alex, if you've got the link for that. So Alex, do you just want to tell us? So that's the price for the next 48 hours.
I have just shared it, yes.
Okay, so Alex has just shared the link in the chat. If you're interested in coming on there, and it's getting to work, it's live with me and my team. And we're working to really help. This is all part of for NLP Life, but it's really working to get you with your skills up high. Okay, so what I'd like to just say is thank you very much. Thank you very much for being here. I hope you found that useful, and I'm delighted at the number of people that have stayed. Thank you for staying. So I hope I kept your interest. Any questions? I'll stay here for a few more minutes, and if not, have a wonderful evening and see you soon, hopefully. Okay, so give yourself a big round of applause. That was fantastic. Okay, thank you very much. I'll just stay here for a little while. So if anyone's got any questions, please come on.
So Fiona, this is Judy Hurt.
Hi, Judy.
Hi, I'm on the west coast of the US, and so the time difference would be a bit challenging for live.
Okay.
What's the best way for that?
Well, if you know, if there's a few people you know in your time zone who'd be interested, we can look at that. We can look at organizing other courses to fit different time zones.
Oh, that would be great. That would be great.
So if you can keep in touch with Bernardo and let Bernardo know, and he can, there's ways and means we can actually organize different time zones, because we understand now, because it's live, we're talking to people all over the place. But that's this next one that's coming up, that's the time. But there's others, there'll be other ones coming up. But we can look at getting different ones at different time zones for you. As long as it's not the middle of the night for me, that's not my best time.
Yeah, no, me neither. So I will keep in touch with Bernardo. Thank you so much. This is excellent, Fiona.
That's lovely. Nice to meet you.
Cheers.
Thank you.
And you. Bye.
Okay, Kalita, have you got a question? Okay, if you just want to... Yeah.
Sorry, yes. I managed to send it in the chat. Is it possible to look at that slide again where you had the meta model structure with the different levels in it? So I could take a picture, please.
Of course I can. So this is the one with, hang on, let me just take you back. And this is called, this is reverse learning, you know that?
That one, yeah, that's the one. Perfect.
There you go, that's got everything on it. That's that one there.
Thank you. awesome. Thank you for a great evening.
Okay, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. What other questions we have?
Hi, Fiona.
Hello. Hi, Lizzie.
It's not, sorry, yes, I forget you've got so many people to look at. It's not a question, it's just to get your advice, actually. So my background is sales and business development, and I help people to grow their business and develop their teams, etc. I did the Masterclass not last year, the year before. And I always find that there's so much stuff that just hasn't gone in yet.
Yeah.
And yet I find that, you know, when we just did that exercise and we just did it on the what, where, etc. And it's almost as though when I have a process to follow, I'm not very good. And yet when I'm in conversation with somebody in a real environment, it's almost as though the conversation then just flows. It's almost like I know more than I think I know, but I just haven't had the experience of doing it. And that's why I get a bit flummoxed sometimes.
Okay, who did you do your master practitioner with?
With Bandler. Is that why?
Yeah. Phenomenal, because Bandler, Dr. Bandler's installing all, it's all unconscious installation. So it becomes automatic.
Yes. Okay.
So you're automatic, and this is what I had to start breaking down what I was already doing, because the minute I started trying to figure out NLP, I got totally confused, and I threw the meta model away. As I said, it took me 10 years to understand it. But what I would say is take one technique and then break it down.
Yes, it's almost like I have to reverse engineer it to say, right, you know, what is it that I'm actually doing? Because I'm just doing it.
And do it a tiny bit at a time.
Okay.
Because you've already integrated your NLP skills.
Yes.
And you'll be using Milton model language, you'll be meta modeling people, you'll be doing all sorts of things. But it's when you start turning up your awareness to what did I just do there?
Yes.
So I would take it, because it can get very overwhelming if you try and break it down at once. What I would do is get a situation that you do really, something that went really, really well.
Okay, yeah.
And then sit down and say, how did I do that?
Yeah.
And
think about the process.
And take yourself, and it's not necessarily about modeling yourself and everything. It could be, I asked really good meta model questions. Or I changed that person's, I changed my state and changed their state.
Yeah.
Or I anchored a giggle into them by just laughing when we started. And once you start identifying what you did, then that becomes really, that's the easiest way to do it. Because if not, it's such a huge subject. I've been working this for 30 years.
You're right there, because the results I'm getting for individual and teamwork are really good. I don't know how I'm getting them.
Yet.
You know what I mean?
You don't know how you're getting it yet. But number one, you're getting it, which is phenomenal.
Yeah.
You're helping people get conversational change. And also, are you planning on being a trainer?
I wanted to do it last year, but yeah, I am planning to.
You'll soon learn how to be that force. You have to. That's when you've got to really. If you learn to teach something. Learn to teach something, and you've got to figure it out, because you've got to be able to. I call it's conscious unconscious competence.
Yeah.
So when you're up at the conscious unconscious, you're able to do it automatically, but you're also consciously able to break down what you do.
Yeah. Okay. No, thank you.
Okay, fantastic.
Thank you.
Okay, who's got anything else to share? Okay, so Sukru, have you got something again? Anika.
Hi.
Right, I'll go to Sukru first, then I'll come to Anika.
Okay,
I'll come to you in a moment.
So I'm going to be very quick. So when I work with the clients, Fiona, just using meta model questions. At the beginning, like 7 years ago, I used to have a problem. If the person is auditory, they tend to talk a lot, you know. So they try to explain everything, you know. I was struggling asking the right questions because the conversation was so fast and hard to understand. Because when I asked them, like, when did you start smoking? And she would say, or he would say, like, oh, my father was smoking, and then, you know, my mom smoked, and when I was going to college. So one methodology I developed, maybe because I'm asking you your advice as well. What is the methodology to work with like this? Because using meta model questions, asking the person in front of you requires a lot of control, right? So what I do now is I'm going to ask you a question, but please just answer the question in a fun way, of course, not like serious face, you know. Then almost like, oh wait, that's not the answer, because I ask a question of when did you start smoking, which year, when, how old were you? So are there any other methodology, because this is really struggling sometimes, you know, are there any methodology that you can recommend to me or everybody that so that it's not turning into conversation or explaining a lot of things, you know?
Okay, omnidirectional chunking, the bringing up, bringing down, bringing to the center, and using sort of real analog marking, using your hands. Stop, 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 stop,
Okay,
stop, stop.
Wait,
And
okay,
I tend to put my hand down. I don't do that. I tend to make my hand go to stop. And I go, stop, 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 stop. Okay, fine. I'd love to be able to work with that. We don't have time just now. Let's come back in. So I always say to them, you've got a certain, won't get a certain, and I do that, man. Let's get back to why you're here. You know, because you can meta model their mother. You can meta model all about their father, but that's all, that's you meta, that's what I call meta modeling a way out here. You can be asking beautiful meta model questions, but it's not specific to the problem here, the problem someone's presented with. So bring them straight back. And I use time.
Exactly,
I mean, I work in 3-hour sessions, but even in 3-hour sessions, I still go, whoa, hang on, let's work with this first. And I use first, second, third. So what do you want to work with first? You've come out with 3 things.
Exactly.
And also only ever ask one question at a time.
Just, okay. So use hand gestures.
Hands. And
okay,
stop,
hands.
stop, get
then
back.
Stop,
back,
come back. Wait. That's not the answer. I don't
say to them that's not the answer. I just go stop. Right, back. And then I may repeat the question. And then if they give me the answer, I will say that if they've repeated it, I'll say that's not the answer to the question. And I'll repeat the question again. Bandler does it beautifully. Dr. Bandler does that beautifully.
Like, I know. So in a flow,
And it's just what I've learned over the years. Some people say, oh, but that's really rude to do that. People are not even aware you're doing it. They're so in their own world with no awareness about the time they're taking. And sometimes no one's ever said them stop before.
Exactly. So what I do is like maybe at the beginning I do reframing. I say, listen, I'm going to apply a technique now, which is so useful. But the technique requires only you answering my question.
Okay, so I would reframing. I maybe wouldn't explain too much about what you're doing and just do it. Just do it and just have a command tone and just and be the expert. Be the expert, but be the expert with fun. And if they go say,
of course,
and say, well, no one's ever asked you to do this before. And my explanation is often to say, no one's ever asked you to think about this consciously before. This is the first time you've been asked to do it. And I'll bring in the empathy, I'll bring in the support, I'll bring in the warmth, but I'm tough.
Exactly.
Same.
Yeah.
It's giving. But I never actually tell someone what I'm going to do. I just do it. I don't even talk about techniques. it's all wound into my conversation.
Usually, like when they're like they're visual. It's easier for them to answer. But
okay,
I'm going
to challenge you in that
one.
one.
Yeah. Okay.
There's no such thing as a visual, auditory, and kinesthetic person. We use all our senses to make sense of the world.
No, I mean the preferred one.
Okay, so that if you want to stop
I'm not saying
them,
just visual, you know.
If you want to stop them, mismatch them.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to stop them and break rapport, if they're talking, and they're giving you lots of visual words, start using lots of kinesthetic or
exactly. Yes. Like
that.
Exactly.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Annika. You've had a question there. I know you've been waiting patiently.
Yes, thank you. It's about the course. Do you already know when this course would start and the 3 hours over the 3 weeks? I guess.
Yes, we have the dates. All the dates are there. Do you have them to hand, Alex?
Hello.
Do you have the dates to hand for the course?
Yes, it's in the link that I shared.
Yeah, so the dates are in the link. I don't have them to hand it just now, but we have all the dates and the times. It's 10 o'clock till 1 o'clock UK time. Hang on, I can give you, I'll just get the dates up.
I think I just saw them 15th, 22nd and 29th.
That's correct, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else? Any other questions? Ken, what would you like to ask? You're on mute. If you just want to unmute yourself, please.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
No, I just wanted to say, Fiona, it was so comforting to hear that you said when you first took the practitioner course that you walked away with one thing. I felt exactly the same way. I was so overwhelmed.
Yeah, it was something about my arm. If you did that, your arm dropped. And I'm going.
Yeah. No, it's very nice to hear that. And you said it took you 10 years, so there's hope for me then.
Well, I want people to accelerate themselves, but I had changed. I was doing things differently, but I couldn't actually tell people what I was doing.
Yeah.
I couldn't explain what I was doing. So that's what put me on my path of bringing this into business, because I was a sales manager who was looking for evidence of any money that was spent. And I knew I couldn't go back to a course. I paid for my own training, but I knew I wouldn't authorize training if someone couldn't come back and apply the techniques.
Yeah.
So I've gone down that route of, and not all trainers work that way. You know, Dr. Bandler works very much at the unconscious level and go and figure it out. But it's such a big subject. It's whatever fits for people.
Yeah. Well, what is the best way to accelerate it then, actually?
The best way to accelerate is join practice groups and practice. Go back to all, you know, if you did Society of NLP training, that manual took me about 10 years as well to go through. If you start seeing the exercises at the back of that manual.
Really?
I don't know anyone who's actually done them. I've done them. I've gone through them all.
Wow.
Not just once, I've gone through them about 20, 30, 40 times.
Oh.
And it's constant. I spend every day about half an hour, maybe on YouTube or reading articles or keeping up. And I attend training. I go and I do NLP training. I go and work with other trainers. I go to masterclasses. I join masterclasses. I join events like this.
Okay.
I talk with the other trainers, and we share knowledge and information.
So practice.
Practice, but it's also identifying. It's your own application of the techniques. There's no one way to do NLP. You work with Dr. Bandler, then you work with John Grinder. I'm going to be doing some work, and I'm at a conference next week in India, and it's Tad James. And I haven't had the privilege of working with Tad James yet, but I'll have a chance to do that. For me, the NLP skills can be brought into so many places. They're being brought into schools. They're being brought into. I'm about to do some work again with the NHS. I put 60 managers through the NHS. And that whole department, this was 2010, when there was huge government cuts in the NHS for the first time ever, where people were losing their jobs, and the sickness rate in that department dropped, and the sickness rate in the rest of the country went through the roof. So there's plenty of places you can take this, and you have to develop the style that fits for you, using the techniques. Because tonight I showed you how I use the meta model. Not everyone uses the meta model the way I did it, and it's all about, there's no right or wrong, and Dr. Bandler talks about that at all. He said, you know, at master level, you should be developing your own techniques. Go and develop your own models, develop your own techniques, find different ways of doing things.
Okay, thank you so much for that. One final question. What was it that you said? You said we should write 100 times?
Go and look for, write out at least 100 of each of the meta model language patterns.
Okay.
So go and find 100 complex equivalents. You might not get it in 1 week, but you could have a complex equivalent day, and you suddenly realize they are everywhere.
Okay.
When you start, you know, mind reading, how many people are going to give me a mind read today? And when you focus on the mind read, you'll start saying, everybody uses mind reads all the time. And if you write them down, it means that all you're doing is you're just honing up. I'm in my late 60s, and my memory is better now than it was in my 40s. And I put it down to the plasticity of the brain with the work I do with NLP. I know it's made a huge difference. And I'm only warming up.
I love it. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I have another question.
Yes, Daniela?
Yes. If I do the seminar, the frictionless communication, are there any books you can suggest reading before taking this course if I'm a beginner?
Get the Life You Want by Richard Bandler. Okay. Phenomenal. Get it. And Richard will always say that. He says, get his latest books. I wouldn't recommend this as your first reading into the structure of magic. I wouldn't recommend that as the first introduction, because what is happening now, the books that Richard Bandler is now coming out with are, you know, more and more simple. So Get the Life You Want with Richard Bandler is beautiful, very, very simple, very easy to read.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Let me see the other rooms. So if we get any questions at all? Gail, how are you doing? Nice to see you here.
Hello, it's really nice to meet up with you.
Another Scottish accent.
It's just been an absolute amazing night. One of the questions I was going to ask Fiona is, I use counselling with a local mental health group.
Yeah.
And I do NLP as well with them that they don't know, because if you mention NLP, because a lot of them are through obviously NHS and things like that, you know, it's like, oh, we're not, no, you can't do that. But if you say it's coaching, it's different. But what I found from over, especially all the kind of pandemic and things, I'm like, I'm not sure it's mental health and that that I'm really into, because it's the business sector I'm kind of drawn, corporate kind of thing. So what kind of way can I diversify?
Run workshops.
Okay.
Get yourself, that's how I started. Just get yourself a couple of techniques and communication, advanced communication skills. Pick a few techniques that you're really comfortable with, and just let people know about it and do a small workshop.
Great, because
and you can sort of advertise it. I don't even advertise it. I used to do it through my network. You just tell people about it. And you can charge people to come along, and you can get your testimonials. And then with business people, let people know that you do this for business as well. And then what starts to happen is people will start inviting you into the companies.
Right, because one of the girls that I work alongside, she's a manager of the club, and she was saying, why don't you set up a social enterprise?
Yes.
Do you think that's a good idea?
I can't give you advice in business.
No, but in the damn. Yeah, it's just, you know, when you kind of go into that sector, it's a totally different sector.
You've got to decide what fits for you, and there's it's going into a whole area of marketing, but it's actually deciding who your client is. Who do you want to be working with?
Okay, yeah.
So it's called putting an avatar together. So you would actually you would give your client a name. What do they do? What's their, you know, there's all sorts of things that you put it together, and that's who you write to. That's who you put your courses for. That's who you're actually presenting towards. That's a whole other side of marketing. But the first thing is, if it's your own business, you've got to decide, who do I want to work with?
Yeah, right. Okay.
Who do I want to work with? And then put together a course and just deliver it. Even if it's a freebie to start with, go online and do an online workshop.
Great. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay. There you go. Let us know how you get on.
Yes, I will too. Thank you.
Okay. So Ken Neptune. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Your hand was up. Do you want to say something else, Ken? You're
sorry. No, I just wanted to say thank you so much for enlightening me. I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Okay, that's lovely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okie dokie. So we're going to finish off in a few minutes. Anything else we want to say? Has anyone got anything else they want to say before we finish?
If I may.
Yes, of course, Philip. Yeah.
I would like to say a great thank you to all of you, because this is actually my first workshop like that. And it was when everybody's when everybody's cameras were on, it was this huge feeling like there is like 120 people there, and all of us are here because of the same thing, the same interest, and it was really great for me. So huge thanks to all of you. And have a great day.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I love the workshop environment because I just think it's so much more personal, and we're in a phenomenal, I mean, who would think that I'm sitting in my office in Rugby in the UK, and look at, we're talking to the world. We're all talking to the world with each other. We're all sitting, hanging out and chatting with each other. It's phenomenal. Okay, thank you.
That was actually the point, like people from all around the world with one interest of NLP joining here to learn something new, to improve their skills. It was wonderful.
And that's our job. Get the word out. Let people know about this. Let people know it's really important. Okay. Anything else? Anyone else?
Have a great day. Bye.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you,
Fiona.
Yes.
Fiona.
Is that, sorry, who's that? Just give me your name. Thomas.
Thomas.
Yes.
Thank you very much. It's very, very pleasure to listen to you, and you make it very simple for me to understand this. So
thank you.
Yes, I read in a Swedish name Magnus Kull. And this was very good for me for really nice example, and it makes it easy for me to understand and get the point of this.
Thank you very much. That's my aim, to keep things simple and easy.
Yeah, but it's not so difficult for everyone to explain this so good as you did for us or for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. Take care.
Thank you, Fiona.
Okay.
Bye.
Really appreciate everyone's time. Thank you.
You too. Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, that's lovely. Thank you very much, Anna.
Thank you, Fiona. Take care.
Okay, Ruth, thank you. That was lovely. And thank you for your contribution. That was brilliant.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Are we taking any more questions?
That's us finished, Alex. That's the questions finished. I think everyone's finished now. I've been asking if there's any more, but I think that's everyone finished. So I think we should just close it down now.
Okay, yes, I'm going to stop recording, and we will send recordings to everyone later this week.
Okay, that's lovely. Thank you very much for the whole team for all your support. That's wonderful. Okay,
guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.